Hello! Can you imagine the following sort of career? I will describe it to you later. A way of making a living, a good living, of making money, and plus that, gaining the respect of many people and having one's ego stroked. This type of career involves publishing books, articles, giving lectures in church halls, town halls, even in universities. This type of career does not involve any heavy labor, heavy lifting or digging or being a scientist, making experiments, finding fossils, or discovering ways to fight diseases. This type of career involves only talking about superstition and about the supernatural. It is entirely subjective, contrary to science, which is based on the postulate of objectivity. This type of career is ministering to people only your subjective thoughts, subjective beliefs. So, the conclusion is that it is entirely in that person's interest to convince people in what he himself believes, in what he says. One good example of such a career is William Lane Craig's career of a professional debater. In his latest interview, he admits that he has a mental baggage. He starts with an unconditional belief in the existence of God and the truth of the story of Christianity. Only after that, he looked for means by which to justify his belief. But he does not have to justify his belief to himself, because he says that even if he is presented with evidence which will refute his belief in the existence of God and the truth of the story of Christianity, he will still believe. But he needs something by which to justify his beliefs to the general public. Why does he need that? Because it is in his interest if the general public believes in what he says. Because if people listen only to reason and reject the superstition and the belief in the supernatural, he is out of a job. He will be left only with his dick in his hands, and he will not be making money, nor gain any respect from people. So this type of career, you've guessed it, is the career of a theologian. Theologians are usually clever mediocrities. They have to be clever because they have to get away with it. They are helped in their career by several circumstances. Many people don't read much, so they are gullible enough to accept what some person says to them, if that person presents what he says in a convincing manner. The means that Dr. William Lane Craig has found are philosophy, language, and actually he uses the basic, fundamental human cognitive abilities. Let's talk a little bit about the evolution of Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens started evolving through making tools. This is a social activity, you need communication, and together with that, language evolved. And they were helped by their basic anatomical characteristics, larynx, jaw, tongue and lips, by which men could articulate sounds very well. And that is how language started developing. And together with that is the ability of people to symbolically represent the outside world and talk about that and think about that. How does this symbolical representation happen? People make generalizations, abstractions of what they see, and this helps for quick and easy communication, because that is the basic requirement. But what happens is when people make generalizations and an abstraction about something, very often they take this to be a separate entity independent of the human mind, which it isn't. Take many terms that William Lane Craig uses. I will have a look at them now. One of them is nothingness, absolute nothingness. The term nothingness, has been created by humans creating the concept of nothingness in their mind. This is a useful concept because it is useful in communication. Oh, could you please give me my bracelet in that, from that box over there? The answer can be, there is nothing in this box. There is something in this room, there is nothing in this room. All the furniture has been taken away. So we need the concept of nothing, but no such thing as absolute nothingness exists. It is created through antinomies. For example, people say full, empty, tall, short. There is something in that box, there is nothing in that box. But as I said, absolute nothingness does not exist at all in the world. It is a contradictory concept, because just imagine, can we say nothingness exists? If it exists, it is something, it is not nothing. Can we say, well, nothing does not exist? If nothing is in a state of existence or non-existence, then this is something that is in a state of non-existence. So again, it exists. If it exists, it is not nothing. See, this philosophical concept is nonsensical. So it can't be used rationally. And when Craig says science proves that the universe came out of nothing, of absolute nothing, he is not right. What scientists say is the universe came out of nothing. By this nothing, they mean quantum vacuum. It is nothing because there is no thing there, but it is a completely different thing from absolute nothingness. Actually, what Craig asserts is that God created everything from absolute nothingness, which there isn't such a thing. So this is a great contradiction, and I'm sorry, nonsensicality. Another thing, he says everything that begins to exist has a cause, and from there he asserts that the universe began to exist, so it has a cause, and what can that cause be, and so on. And this is one of his arguments. But everything that begins to exist, that means that he states that things begin to exist. Only the concepts, generalizations, abstractions, and the concepts that we made of something can begin to exist. For example, a human being, we deliberate in such a way, well, there is no human being, but when conception happens, that has the potentiality of a human being growing out of it. So humans think, well, that's when I began to exist, for example. But this is only the intellectual deliberation about a human being. This is an abstraction that we make. So physical things do not begin to exist because there is only matter taking another shape and being transformed into a different shape. So things do not begin to exist. Even the universe, with the latest discoveries in science, with the latest theories made in science, show that the universe, yes, it began to exist, but if we make an abstraction of that, what has actually happened is from this quantum vacuum that is not absolute nothingness, although it looks like nothing, fluctuations of particles, antiparticles may appear, and that causes, I'm not a scientist so I can't explain it, but you can look it up and I will give you the titles of some books downstairs. These fluctuations cause the Big Bang, and after that the inflation period, and the universe may appear as our universe has appeared. Our universe has certain characteristics, but from this basic fundamental quantum vacuum, other baby universes, bubbles like that, can fluctuate, and other types of universes may appear with completely different characteristics. Now, the characteristics in our universe permit life to appear, and that is why we are in such a universe, because we are living beings. So that does away with Craig's second argument of the fine-tuning of the universe. There is no fine-tuning at all. It's just that with the certain fundamental laws that exist in our universe, things can develop, things can form, but a certain class of things like galaxies, stars, planets, they can be presupposed from the fundamental laws of physics, but not the specific objects that have appeared in the universe, not specifically Andromeda's galaxy, or the Milky Way, or the Sun, or the planet Earth, but something like planets, stars and galaxies will appear. Also, from the fundamental laws that we have, it can be predicted, or it can be presupposed that certain chemical elements will appear, but not exactly which ones. Not the certain chemical elements that we have. So, and this is something very important, what I'm going to say now. From the basic fundamental physical laws in our universe, it cannot be presupposed that something like life will arise. It is a chemical chance. That is why you cannot say that God or anybody can design the world as it is now, with people in the image of God, from the beginning. He may, just for the sake of arguments, he may set the fundamental laws of physics, the constants and so on that we have in our universe, but that does not lead with certainty at all to life appearing. Not to mention the way that life will evolve after the first self-reproducing macromolecule, and that the end result will be humans. this cannot be designed, it cannot be pre-designed. So that refutes completely the idea of an intelligent designer, of a God that can design people in his own image through the creating of the universe with these certain fundamental laws and constants, which he says are fine-tuned for us to appear. We should notice the right term that he uses, life-permitting universe, not life-requiring universe. He is right in that, but people just don't notice this nuance. So my message in this video is, don't forget that people like William Lane Craig, other theologians as well, make a career by talking things that have not been proven, there is no evidence for them, but they use science or the terminology of science to appear more educated than their public, and to try and get their message across. They need to convince the public of what they are saying or what they believe in. But it is only in their interest that their subjective knowledge should be imparted on other people. And this is wrong, because anybody can think of anything, and it is not right that the general public believes them, and it is not right that they make money on that. Bye.